Foreign aircraft carriers in the world belongs to the U.S., and the total combined deck space of the American aircraft carriers is more than double that of all other nations combined. When it comes to aircraft carriers, the U.S. is unmatched, and the new $17 billion USS Gerald Ford Supercarrier would make that even more so despite efforts of other nations to keep up. The USS Gerald Ford is the lead of America's first class of aircraft carriers in over 4 decades, and its deployment is something more than the usual $17 billion USS Gerald Ford. Meet the new American flagship. It is an introduction of the world to the next generation of aircraft carriers. The next generation of aircraft carriers would be the ultimate symbol of the military might of the militaries that wield them, a mobile version of all lethality a country has to offer, and packed with all the advanced tech of the last decades. These massive floating air bases could win battles by intimidation alone, but there is a battle, if you will, for which would be the most intimidating, as a handful of other nations like the US also develop new lethal next-generation aircraft carriers, and it's our job to look at every single one of them in detail, starting with the headline maker. The Gerald Ford class is the name given to the carrier class that would birth the latest and most advanced aircraft carriers of the U.S. Navy. 10 carriers are planned for this class. 2 are currently in the works, while 1 has been completed and is active. This one is the USS Gerald Ford Supercarrier. The USS Gerald Ford was already the most advanced carrier in the world before it was completed, and deservedly so. To build it, the U.S. Navy had to stop work on over 9,000 other projects. The Supercarrier had a record-setting 100,000-ton displacement and featured a staggering 23 new technologies, 3 of which are industry marvels. Number 3, nuclear power propulsion. 2 Bechtel A-1B nuclear reactors, the most cutting-edge engines created for use on water. How are the USS Gerald Ford? As a result, the carrier can run for 25 years at a time without refueling, and with a max speed of around 30 knots, the Supercarrier could access every country on the planet just in time to pay friendly visits to allies that wreak havoc on adversaries. Number 2, American fighter jets and WAVs. Up to 75 fighter jets and WAVs can call the USS Ford home at any given time. This includes the Navy's favorite child, the 5th generation F-35C Lightning II, whose development program remains the most expensive weapons development program of the Pentagon to date, with a reported cost of $400 billion. The result of such an expensive program is a fighter that can do it all: close air support, vertical takeoff and landing, and everything in between. And when the Navy's 6th generation FAX fighter comes to life, the USS Ford is already equipped with the technologies required to host launch and arrested. Number 1, advanced launch and arrest systems on the USS Ford is a revolutionary first-of-its-kind electromagnetic launch system to catapult every aircraft type into the sky in the shortest possible distance, and an arresting gear that saves them from becoming sea divers by grinding them to a sharp halt. These systems are designed for 100 takeoffs and 16,500 arrests before faults occur. However, this claim, impressive as it is, has not been proven, and as France is working on similar systems as these, how would the French carrier fare? France is now accelerating its new generation aircraft carrier program, generation, or PANG for short, which will replace the 38,000-ton Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier in service with the French Navy. Construction of the new aircraft carrier is to start in only 2 years. The PANG aircraft carrier is designed to be powered by 22 nuclear reactors that offer over 75% more tonnage than is available on the Charles de Gaulle. It will replace. This enables the 75,000-ton aircraft carrier to achieve speeds of nearly 27 knots and have literally unlimited range. It could sail forever. The nuclear propulsion system would also provide enough power to optimally power the carrier's onboard systems. Of these systems are new generation electromagnetic catapults and arresters. The aircraft to be launched using these systems would likely initially be the Rafale M, until the new 6th generation fighter developed by France, Germany, and Spain is introduced into service. A mock-up of this fighter was unveiled at the 2019 Paris Air Show, and its design was as much a beauty to behold as its specifications are a recipe for lethality. Unmanned drones would accompany this fighter into battlefield action. The drones would carry out subtasks assigned to them by the manned fighter. To utilize this manned-unmanned teaming from the aircraft carrier, the PANG is designed to host drones aside from the USS carriers. This would be the first carrier capable of such a feat. In addition to drones and up to 32 fighters, the aircraft carrier would also have a large number of helicopters on board to operate all of these systems and air-based assets. The Pang will have a complement of over 2,000 sailors. All of these and more contribute to a price tag of about $5 billion. Moving on from the American ally to adversary, China has also been making impressive aircraft carrier moves of its own. China has the second largest fleet of aircraft carriers in the world, and their third, the Type 003 Fujin, is everything to write home about in Mandarin. The Fujin was launched on June 17, 2022, with designs eerily similar to that of the American supercarrier. For one, it does away with the assisted takeoff ramps of its predecessors, only launched a few months ago. The Fujin remains a new aircraft carrier, and like any flagship military equipment, not much information has been released about it. However, there's enough to know just what the aircraft carrier could offer. Like the American supercarrier, it features electromagnetic launch systems, but only has 3 of them as opposed to the US's. For the Fujin has a conventional steam turbine-based propulsion system, which is in many ways inferior to a nuclear propulsion system. The Fujin has a displacement of 80,000 tons, making it 20% lighter than the Ford's 100,000 tons, and with this smaller size comes a smaller air wing. Although the exact number of supported aircraft is uncertain at this time, whatever the count, it's certain to give the Chinese Navy multiple options to execute missions, and with the electromagnetic launch systems active, virtually all kinds of aircraft can take off from the Fujin. The Fujin is the first indigenous Chinese aircraft carrier to take center stage in the battle for aircraft carrier dominance, and that in itself marks a major milestone in the building capacity of China and a milestone in the ever-growing might of the Chinese military. Not many borders away, though one of China's closest neighbors, is also making impressive strides in the aircraft carrier space. This country is South Korea. The South Korean Chevron is an aircraft carrier under development for the Republic of Korea Navy, their first aircraft carrier ever. The Chevron is a result of a modernization program of the Republic of Korea Navy that began in 2001. This program is referred to as a Blue Water Navy and has been responsible for the most advanced South Korean sea-based assets, such as the Sejong the Great class, the Engine class frigates, Type 214 submarines, and the Dokdo-class amphibious assault ships, upon which the Chevron aircraft carrier is based. The CBX will feature an axial flight deck similar to those used by the Tarawa Wasp and America-class ships of the United States Navy. In August 2020, the South Korean Ministry of Defense confirmed that 20 F-35BS would be procured for the Chevron. In terms of rotary wing aviation, the ship will accommodate the future marine attack helicopters of the Republic of Korea Marine Corps. The 45,000-ton aircraft carrier would have a top speed of 27 knots and come at a cost of $1.8 billion. The Chevron is expected to be commissioned in 2030 and enter service in 2033, cementing South Korea's flag in the aircraft carrier operating nations of the Asian continent, along with China, Japan, India, and Thailand. So South Korea, China, France, and the U.S. are 4 of the most notable nations thirsty to improve their military might. Projected across the seas, the 2030s, when most of these aircraft carriers will officially enter service, is sure to be an interesting one. But until then, when the aircraft carriers can actually go head-to-head, the papers and theories and calculations suggest that the most lethal aircraft carriers are the American Gerald Ford Supercarriers, the lead of which has already been deployed. An aircraft carrier of the future unleashed today. To speed up the deployment of the second, subscribe to this channel and give this video a like, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks for watching.